Hey, Ashley here with episode 31 of the Maverick Mompreneur podcast, and this is a jam-packed episode. It's way longer than I intended it to be, and I actually ended up giving you my entire repurposing system as it currently stands and how I quadruple dip into SEO-friendly platforms that work for me and get my message out there and sell for me 24/7, 365 versus the daily grind of feeling like you have to show up on social media in order for your business to continue to grow and to stay relevant. So if you are ready to think about or start making the shift to long-term plays and building out long-term assets for your brand that are evergreen, that are search engine optimized, that are discoverable, this is definitely the episode to you. And I hope I can just imprint onto your mind how important it is to, alongside whatever it is that you have going on right now, that you invest your time in starting to create these evergreen assets and at very minimum repurposing, if not publishing, original content on those platforms from what you're already doing. So get a pen, get a piece of paper, grab your beverage, and let's get our learn on. Hey mama, I'm Ashley, and this is the Maverick Mompreneur podcast, where you're free and encouraged to own your desire to create and scale an impactful, discoverable online brand and business in the midst of motherhood. A business that's aligned with your mission, lifestyle desires, personality, and zone of genius without wasting your time on the hustle and grind hamster wheel that is social media. Can I get an amen? Sis, you are a maverick, an original, willing to stand out in your authenticity, defy expectations, and do life and business outside the box. In our world, if it's not aligned with who we are, it's a hard pass or a brave pivot. So if you're here for the powerful identity shift and transformation from boss babe or boss mom to aligned CEO, building a one-of-a-kind, influential, hustle-free online business that will produce long-term impact and multiple streams of income through SEO, affiliate marketing, and courses while building yourself in the process, well, pop in those AirPods, grab that cup of coffee or glass of wine, and let's get growing. Hey friend, before we dive into this week's episode, I wanted to give you a heads up that between today, which is Monday the 13th of June, and Friday the 17th of June, I have a special sale going on. It's the summer savings sale. I've never done anything like this before, but I know that for a lot of you, you have a little bit of extra time this summer, and you might want to use that time to invest in creating evergreen assets. And if that's you, you can get 30% off of any of my courses, including the big one, Social Seller to CEO Academy. That will not happen again. It's just for this summertime because I really want you to be able to dive in and start creating these assets so that you can transition off the hamster wheel, if you will. So head to elevatedwithashley.com/courses and you can check out all the things. I recommend, if you are brand new and you're just getting started, start out with Align Your Brand. It's the best course on personal branding, everything from your brand fonts and colors to aligning your schedule to create the lifestyle that you want to support your brand and business. Literally everything, your avatar, everything. No stone left unturned. So Align Your Brand is great. Evergreen Your Brand, which is a quick down and dirty. This is how you create a website that's optimized for monetization and search engine optimization. Intentional Pinfluencer, where you can learn how to be a boss on Pinterest, everything that you need to know and nothing that you don't need to know in order to crush it on Pinterest. I've got like 1 million views a month on one of my websites via Pinterest. So trust, know what I'm talking about. I got you. Mini courses out the wazoo. And then of course, Social Seller CEO Academy, which is literally my entire business model. That includes Align Your Brand. That includes Evergreen Your Brand as pre-work if you need it. And then exactly how to automate affiliate sales through sales funnels, automate your social selling process through sales funnels, and then making the transition and shifting into CEO mindset, energy, decision making, and finally, in the last half of the program, coming up with developing and launching a profitable offer at 100% commission. That's something that you own, that you can control your cash flow, your income, your impact through this powerful offer. So I want to help you to finally make your dreams of multiple streams of income and impact an actual reality. And I can do that for you for 30% off between now and Friday. So head to elevatedwithashley.com/courses. Check that out. If you have questions, hit me up in the DMs, Ashley R. Latimer, Ashley Latimer on Facebook, or you can go to elevatedwithashley.com/contact and drop me a line there. Okay, let's get to it, because I didn't include the actual discount code that you would want to use at checkout. It is SUMMER30, SUMMER30, all one word / numbers all together. That will save you 30% off at checkout on elevatedwithashley.com/courses, or you can head to the particular webpage for the course that you're interested in, say Social Seller to CEO Academy.com, alignyourbrand.com, and so on and so on. Okay, hello, my Maverick friends. I am back with another episode of the Maverick Mompreneur podcast, but we're not exclusive to mompreneurs. I just happen to be a mompreneur, but our common factor is that we are doing things outside the box. We are not trying to be like everyone else and make the decisions that everyone else is making. We are doing things that feel in alignment with our best selves, living our best lives, whether you're a mom, or you're not a mom, or you're a guy, although I don't really think I have any male listeners, but shout out to you if you're a male listener. Anyway, today I'm going to give you some real deal stats and something to think about. And I hope you will hear me because it's really important. We are going to talk about evergreen content and content repurposing, and why I strongly feel that you want to start creating SEO-based evergreen content. At least, at minimum, repurposing your social media content into an evergreen format. I was doing some research on Facebook, and I found out that currently the average organic reach for a Facebook post is 6.4% of the page's total likes, which means that the average, so it could be a little more, it could be less. I've seen from 1 to 6% of your audience is actually seeing your posts. Whew, that's pretty abysmal, right? 1 to 6%. And that is the same for Instagram as well. I also saw that 15% of users actually shop on Facebook. So if you're on Facebook and you're trying to sell a product, that's probably not going to be the number one place to actually convert sales. Different for Instagram, but for my Facebook users, just giving you that little bit of advice. 93% of all social media marketers use Facebook ads. And I tell you that statistic because that's pretty telling, isn't it? If you're not paying to play, then Meta, Facebook/Instagram, is not showing your posts to more than 6% of your total audience. Not to mention, if your audience is not a pretty heavily targeted audience who wants and has indicated that they are interested in what it is that you have to offer, that's going to be on the lower end of that 1 to 6% of people seeing, but also caring about what it is that you're posting, right? So let me guess, right now, you're probably creating a reel a day, maybe even more. You're posting on Facebook or Instagram and kind of coming up with a caption, whether that's for your reel or whether that's for a photo. You're doing all this editing. You're spending anywhere from 30 to 60 minutes a day having conversations in Messenger or starting conversations by engaging and commenting on other people's content. Basically, you're spending hours per day and multiple hours per week creating content that's only being seen by, at best, 6% of your audience. Now, if you have a huge, ginormous audience, then that might actually be doing pretty well for you. However, what is the long-term play? Both for someone who is not seeing results from all the grinding on social media, or someone who is seeing results with the grind of social media but can't imagine sustaining that pace and that constant chasing of the algorithms and learning new things. Okay, now it's going to be dancing reels. Now it's lip syncing reels. Now it's creating reels that are your own unique style, but also researching and using the trending sounds underneath it. And holy moly, all of those things are fine and good, but chasing after that for such a small return on investment for most people just seems like not a good return on investment, frankly. Not to mention that the life cycle of those pieces of social media content is just not there. If your ideal client avatar goes to Google and searches for a keyword that could lead them to exactly what you have to offer and to you, search engines, they're not going to show them your Facebook post. They're not going to show them your Instagram reel. I don't care if you use hashtags or what, they're not going to be ranking you for the long term based on your social media content. So at very minimum, I want to encourage you to start at least repurposing your social media content onto an SEO-friendly platform. And SEO, if I didn't say it before, is search engine optimization. Using keywords, using key phrases that will actually make you and your content and your products, services, opportunity, what you're offering online, what you're selling online, discoverable, and actually, sooner rather than later, start converting to sales that will continue to convert sales over the long haul, not a one and done. So when we look at the long game and we look at creating content or at least repurposing content to these SEO-friendly platforms that I'm going to talk about, we are looking at building out assets for your brand that are going to be around, that are going to have staying power, that aren't just going to be popular one day, going viral, and then not there the next. What I would like to encourage you to do is to use your time, particularly if you have extra time this summer, and I know extra is very relative. It might not be very much, but focusing your efforts and investing your time wisely with long-term plays is what I want for you to do so that you can look back in a few years, 1, 2, 3 years, and be so grateful that you started building your business in a way that was actually discoverable. Now, a few weeks back, I can't recall offhand which episode it was, but I had an episode I believe was titled The 4 Investments to Make When You're Ready to Scale Your Brand and Business. One of these is definitely on there. Here are the SEO-friendly platforms where you can not only expedite connection with your audience by creating, actually all but one of these, where you're creating a long form piece of content that is evergreen, and those are YouTube, and it's easier than you may think to create a YouTube video or to repurpose one of your Facebook live videos or your IGTV live videos onto YouTube and actually use SEO keywords in the proper places to get that content actually searchable. A podcast, just like you're listening to right now. There are so many amazing places for SEO to go when it comes to a podcast. A blog/website, which yes, every online entrepreneur needs a blog/website as a hub. I don't care if the only thing you use it for is to build your email list. You need to have a blog/website. You can look at mine. It's elevatedwithashley.com. Elevatedwithashley.com. I had to transfer from my old site, so it's been kind of a long time in the making, but you can kind of check out and see what that looks like. It's nothing fancy schmancy, but it gets the job done, and it gets my brand and my products and my services out there onto the interwebs where the search engines are crawling around and indexing and ranking content to be served up to ideal client avatar, people who are searching for what we have to offer. So think about just using a simple Facebook Live. Probably at some point you've done a Facebook Live, whether that was your personal page, your business page, maybe it was in a group. If it's still relevant to something that you offer, and it doesn't have to be anything super fancy, but if you want that to be something that is evergreen, you can simply download that video and repurpose it and repost it to YouTube, but using keywords so that that can actually be found. Again, if someone searches on Google, your Facebook Live in a group or on your public page is not going to be found. I don't care how many keywords you stack in the description. That is not an SEO-friendly platform. You can also then take that Facebook Live, for example, and download the video, upload that video to temi.com, temi.com, get a transcription, and you can create many things with that transcription. You can look and see if there's a quote that you can pull so that you can create a social media post if you would like with a branded quote, so something that's unique to you, shareable content, right? You can take that and you can put it onto your website in the blog portion so that it's an actual post. You can doctor it up a little bit if you would like, if you don't speak completely in MLA format or whatever. Not that your blog needs to be in MLA format, but you know what I mean. If you're all over the place like I sometimes am with live videos especially, you can edit it and put it to your website or blog with keywords in the proper places, in the headings, in the images in the right places, all those things. And then that same YouTube video, that same Facebook Live video or IG Live is now an evergreen asset. So you can post it to YouTube. There's one SEO-friendly platform that you've got going on. You take that transcription, you turn it into a blog post, and you go ahead and put it on your blog, your website with some images. And then you can use Pinterest, which is such a vastly underutilized by social media marketers or online marketers in general, such an underutilized platform that's free. It's a visual search engine. You can drive traffic by creating pins and utilizing SEO. You can drive traffic back to your YouTube video, your podcast, your website, your blog. It's also SEO friendly. So you could be triple dipping right there already, right? And not to mention using your transcriptions for things like shareable content, such as a branded quote. You can take little snippets if you want of the video and you can create stories. I mean, there's all kinds of ways that you can repurpose your content, but we want to focus on making sure that you are repurposing and or creating evergreen content. So content that is going to be relevant and circulating 24/7, 365. Oh, I should mention here, if you have not taken a Pinterest course and you have no idea what's up with Pinterest, I have a masterclass / course called Intentional Pinfluencer. It is so good. It is the best down and dirty SEO based Pinterest course that I've bought and purchased and looked through a lot of them, but this one is so good. And so that is actually part of the 30% off sale that ends next Friday. So make sure that you head over to elevatedwithashley.com/courses and you can snag Intentional Pinfluencer for 30% off. And it's already really cheap. So that's a no-brainer. No matter where you're marketing, you can promote in a way that's evergreen, whatever it is you got going on. So just a little plug for that. I wanted to make sure that I mentioned that to you. At this point, let me go through and give you exactly my workflow. So my workflow as far as how I market and repurpose my content. This is it. Are you ready? You can create a little flow chart of this and then do it yourself if you want. This is my business model. This is what I do. So I start out with an idea. So it could be my own idea. It could be someone who has DM'd me a topic or a question, or it could come from one-on-one client work, a conversation that we have, and I just think, oh, this is an episode. I need to create this episode for my larger audience, for all the Mavericks. Or it might even come from elevatedwithashley.com/contact, or someone's, written in with a question. Anyway, the topic comes up. I brainstorm the topic. I do a quick little outline, which is what I'm looking at right here in front of me. Just gives me the bullet points so that I stay on track and I make sure to give you the information that is relevant and useful and all the things, and not bird walk too much. I know sometimes I do, but hopefully not too much. So then I take that outline and I do exactly what I'm doing right now in this moment. I sit down in my closet and I record the podcast episode. When I'm done with that, and after I'm done editing the episode, I upload it to Podbean. I make sure that all my SEO is tight and right, because remember, a podcast is an SEO friendly platform, and the long form video or audio content is the best way to make that connection with your audience and shortcut that know, like, and trust process. Would like to compare it to mowing the lawn with a lawnmower versus cutting your grass with scissors. Will both cut the grass and get the job done? Yes, but the best way to mow the grass as far as connecting with your audience is creating content that's hyper valuable for them, that's evergreen, and that is your voice speaking directly to them, just like I'm doing with you right now. Okay. And hopefully you do feel like, if you've listened to one or more episodes, that I am talking directly to you, because I am. So yes, could you cut down your no like and trust factor very slowly with posts that are getting seen by 1 to 6% of your audience? Sure. But it's not your voice. It's not the same as using your voice. And you can use your voice in written format too with the blog. But YouTube, podcasts, or website is where it is at. These are assets you're building for your brand. Okay, so back to my workflow. So I record the podcast, I upload the audio after it's edited to Podbean with SEO, publish it. It goes out to all the major channels. Apple is really where it's at, though. Majority of listeners are from Apple. And then I take that episode and I upload it to Temi, TEMI.com, and pay a few bucks and get a transcription. So the written word of what I spoke. And I take that, I add SEO, kind of doctor it up, make it look nice and presentable and coherent, and take out, the promos or things that are not relevant. And I make that into a evergreen blog post with SEO. So at this point, we've got SEO in the podcast itself. We've got SEO and searchability in the blog post. I embed the player for the episode within the blog post, so those are interlinked. Within Podbean, I have it set up so that the audiogram is just it's a picture video list video that goes to YouTube with my SEO-friendly description. So it's going to a third place that is actually SEO-friendly. And then that my virtual assistant, who I adore, shout out to Kendra Taylor of KT Socially, she creates and pins to Pinterest for that episode and for that blog post using, you guessed it, SEO. So using keywords and key phrases in all the right spots, which you can learn how to do in the Intentional Pinfluencer course. But that's quadruple dipping on the same SEO, so that on the back end, this is how you become an authority in your particular niche. This is like big girl stuff right here, long-term plays. These are maverick moves. This is not what the 500,000 social media influencers, and even more than that if it's someone that's a marketer / influencer. So let's say 1 million people selling things on social media. I would be interested, and maybe I'll find this stat. How many are actually utilizing SEO and internet marketing, like online marketing, in an organic way where they're not paying to play, but they are investing their time to learn a skill set that is invaluable and that can help them to build an asset for their brand for the long term that doesn't require dumping money into ad spend. I mean, to me, this is such a no-brainer. I get all hot and bothered, partially because it's really hot in this closet, but I get all hot and bothered because it just makes so much sense. I'm like, why would you not spend your time creating something in this one short life we have to live that's actually going to create impact that echoes for years and years and years and create sales for years and years and years, versus wasting your time and efforts focusing on an ever-moving target, which is social media. That's exhausting and feels like a hamster wheel. Like, no, thank you. I don't want that lifestyle for anyone who doesn't want it, but you might feel like that's the thing to do. Like, that's what you have to do. And it's just not true. You can do some of it, but it shouldn't be your focus. Creating evergreen, discoverable content to sell your products, your services, your opportunity is where it's at. I even think about, what if I were to record podcast episodes live so that I can have some video clips for promoting my podcast on social media, which is pretty much all I do now. I stay in stories, but I use it to promote my podcast episodes to my audience. But I'm not focusing there. You can look on my Instagram. I don't remember the last time I posted, and my engagement is horrible, but that's not what I rely on. So I don't care. I'm like, oh no, 24 likes. Oh no, the horrors. But I have a 6-figure online business. It's SEO based, and I know that it's going to continue to grow with me. Social media is not going to continue to grow with you unless you are there. Right? I don't have to be on my website. I don't have to be on my podcast every day. I don't have to be on Pinterest every day, because those things are in circulation due to the one and done process that I did to set up keywords and key phrases. So I highly encourage you to invest your time in creating a long-term asset for your brand. And I would highly recommend that you start with a blog or website, because if you add a podcast later, if you add YouTube, you can embed both of those things and should into your website, but you have to have that built out and optimized for monetization and SEO optimized first. And so that is where I would highly recommend that you start. If you're thinking, gosh, where do I start? I'm telling you, create a simple but effective website. If you need help with that, I do have a course, which is 30% off between now and Friday, and it's called Evergreen Your Brand. It's so good. It has everything you would need to, from start to finish. I walk you straight through. It's self-paced. You could have your website set up and optimized in a day. Literally a day if you wanted to. So I recommend that you start there, get assets set up. Then if you want to add a podcast, then if you want to add YouTube and you want to, over time, continue to build evergreen assets as a part of your brand, you can do that, but you have an SEO-friendly foundation. Social media is a great way to connect with your audience, to build community, to have a place to connect in a different way. I love my Facebook group, my free Facebook group. Absolutely love it. It's a great way to connect, but I also know that the algorithms are constantly changing, and you do, in order to keep your engagement up, you have to be posting every single day, multiple times a day, and that is not the sustainable lifestyle that I see myself living, nor do I want that for my clients long term. I built my business and initial momentum and had my first ever launch using the low-tech launch method, which, by the way, is also 30% off. That's another self-paced course to teach you how to create and launch your own brand offer as a complement to what you're already doing. I launched that and built that in a very small group, under 300 members, and it was my first multiple five-figure month. I think it was like 21,000 that month, 15,000 coming from one offer. You do not have to cut off everything with social media, but think about how you want to spend your time, and are you building out something for your brand that will allow you to ease off the gas when the time is right. So if you're crushing it on social media, congratulations to you. That is awesome. I've been there too, and I've also felt like I was going to lose my damn mind. I could not get off my phone. I was constantly on my phone. It felt like if I was not there, I was not growing. And that was true. But during that time, I was building out these evergreen assets I speak of. I was converting social media eyeballs into an email list that I can now communicate with. I have an email list of over 10,000 that I can communicate with, that I own. I don't own the people, but I own the list. So heaven forbid something happens to social media. Oh well, I still have a target audience who have already opted in and said that they enjoyed and wanted more of what I have to offer. Use the time that you have to your advantage and to build and leverage evergreen platforms that are going to work for you 24/7, 365, so that you can actually have time for the things that matter. Yes. Okay, definitely hot and bothered in here. I think I need to get off. Quick reminder, elevatedwithashley.com/courses. That has links to all of my different courses, whether it be the intentional pinfluencer, whether it be low tech launch, whether it be the whole shebang, social seller to CEO academy, or evergreen your brand, which teaches you to set up a website. Look through it. Whatever you need as far as building out SEO friendly platforms for your brand, I got you covered. I am your coach. So look at that. 30% off now to Friday I think it's the 17th. Yeah, Friday the 17th. You have a chance to save 30% off and spend your time this summer really creating evergreen assets for your brand that you can repurpose your social media content to, and all the good things. So that's all I got for you today. Thank you so much. I will look forward to seeing you in the next episode. And until then, cheers to your impact. Oh, and by the way, if you loved this episode and you're finding value in this content, please do subscribe to the blog. Just hit follow. I think it's 3 arrows or a check mark or something. Follow. And if you loved this episode and you want to share, screenshot it, tag me in your stories, Ashley R. Latimer, and I will make sure to reshare. And yeah, let's get this message out there, you guys. Okay, see you next Tuesday. Bye. Well, I recorded that entire episode and realized that I didn't share the 30% off discount code with you. So, drum roll. It is summer 30. So you can head to elevatedwithashley.com/courses and you can use the code summer30 to save 30% off between today, which is Monday, June 13th, and Friday, June 17th. So if you have any questions, make sure to hit me up. And yeah, okay, let's start building out your evergreen SEO-based assets.